Do you guys remember the other day when I made that short video entitled "How do you know when you have forgiven someone?" Okay, if you didn't see it, or if you forgot about it, then I'll just recap it for you really quick. So a couple days ago, I made a short video entitled "How do you know when you've forgiven someone?" And basically, how do you know that you've forgiven someone is if you think about the person or the offense and you still feel if you think about the person or the offense and you feel joy or peace or love towards that person, then most likely you have already forgiven that person. But if you think about the person or the event or the offense and you still feel bitterness, resentment, or anger towards that person, then most likely you have not forgiven that person yet. So with that being said, I started thinking about, you know what, like, I want to see how my viewers are doing with their journey in forgiving people, in forgiveness, you know. So I wanted to use, like I said, my own trials and tribulations, because that's what this video is all about, and I wanted to compare it with you guys and see what's going on, see, you know, how you guys are doing, you know, all that stuff. But since my Christian walk every day gets better and better and better, I don't necessarily find myself in situations every day where I'm being offended by somebody, because I learned to let things go. I learned to not get offended anymore. I learned to just have more peace in my heart and stuff like that. So it's not every single day that I'm being offended anymore. And if you're anything like me, I'm an impatient person. So once I decided that I was going to work on forgiving people, I want to work on it like yesterday. I want to learn how to forgive people like yesterday. Not today, not tomorrow, and definitely not next month. You know, I'm impatient like that. And I thought maybe my viewers are impatient like that too. So if my viewers are impatient like that, then I was thinking I've got to find some way that I could kind of like check in with them and see how they're doing, and we can compare notes. I can let them know how I'm doing and see how they're doing. So that's what this video is going to be about. So one of the ways that I figured I would, one of the ways I thought that I can try to help you guys out is try to let you know how, okay, let me try to think of it. Okay, it sounded so much better before I turned the camera on in my head. But basically, like, instead of waiting for somebody to offend me, because I don't know when that's going to happen, and instead of waiting for that to happen and then dealing with that when it happens and then coming to you guys and saying, okay, hey, this happened to me, you know, today or whatever, what I decided to do was go back in my brain and think of all the different times that somebody has offended me, whether they owe me money or whether they just said something wrong to me or did something wrong to me or whatever it is. I figured I would just I would bring those thoughts back up and see how I feel. And if I feel peace and joy and love, then I know that I've forgiven them. But if I don't, then I know that I need to forgive them. So, for example, one of the things I'm talking about is when I first started my junk removal job over a year ago. The very first job that we had was a hoarder house clean out. Now, when we were cleaning the house, we came in possession of tens of thousands of baseball cards, basketball cards, football cards, but tens of thousands of them. And after we got done, you know, everything, I posted a thing online that was like, hey, you guys, I got a bunch of baseball cards that I'm trying to get rid of. If anybody needs them, or if their kids want them, or Boy Scouts or anything like that, let me know. We'll work something out. So a bunch of people started hitting me up, you know, around my town and stuff like that, and letting me know that they were interested. And I was meeting people up. Sometimes I was sending them, you know, a box of them or whatever. But my ex-girlfriend, my high school sweetheart, she lives in Corpus Christi, Texas. And she hit me up and said, hey, you know, I'm interested. My son would love some of those. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll send you a bunch of them. So I sent her a bunch of them, and she said, yeah, totally, that's cool. Like, I'll totally pay the shipping on it, you know. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. No problem. So I sent her a bunch of them, and then she called me up like a week later and asked if I sent them. I said, yeah, I sent them. The shipping was $75, and she was like, $75? She's like, holy moly, that's way more than I thought it was going to be. And honestly, it was way more than I thought it was going to be too. And yes, I played favoritism a little bit since she was my high school sweetheart and a really good friend of mine. I sent her son like a lot of them, a majority of them, and the $75 was more than I thought it was going to be, but I just paid it anyway. So she says, okay, well, do you have Cash App, or do you have this other kind of app or whatever? So I said, no, I don't deal with any of those. So she walked me through on how to set it up and everything. And then she says, okay, I'll send you the money through there. Well, I never got the money, to make a long story short. I never got the money. And I know eventually she thought that I did get the money. I never said anything about it. I ended up just getting really resentful about it. I never brought it up again. To this day, I have not brought it up. And I know basically she's probably forgotten about it. And here it is a year later, over a year later, and I'm still holding on to it. And when I think about that, I still have resentment. I'm still angry about it. I'm still like, how dare you? Like, out of all the people I know, you were the last person in the world that I ever thought would screw me out of money. But after thinking about it and learning and trying to apply what I know about forgiveness, by not forgiving somebody, they say it's like drinking a bottle of poison and hoping that it affects the other person. And like I said, it's been over a year. She's probably totally forgotten about the whole situation. But like I said, for me, over a year later, and I'm still letting it affect my peace and steal my joy and affect my mood and all that. So who's it really hurting? By not forgiving her, it's hurting me. Not her, it's hurting me. So I just decided that, you know what? I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. I'm not going to let that poison affect me anymore. So I just decided, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth me calling her, because if I call her and say, hey, remember that $75 a year ago that, blah, 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 blah. Well, I never got it. She's going to say, well, I sent it. And then I'm going to say, well, I never got it. And then we're going to go back and forth, and it's not going to end pretty. And then there's going to be all this resentment on her side against me, and then more resentment on my side against her, when honestly, $75, our friendship is worth so much more than $75. So I just figured I'll just sweep it under the rug and just forget about it and just let it go. So now when I think about it, when I think about her, when I think about that situation, I just hope that she's doing good. I hope her son is doing good. I hope that he's enjoying the cards. I hope that he found some really good ones in there that might be worth some really good money that he can pass on to his kids. I don't think about how bitter I was and how I was so angry, and I don't think about that. So I know in my heart that I have forgiven her. So comment below and let me know, are there people that you still need to forgive? How are you forgiving these people? How are you dealing with these people? And don't say, because I've read some of your comments, and don't say, oh, well, I just don't go around that person anymore, so everything is worked out. No, that's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just saying, okay, I'm just not going to deal with the people anymore, and, that's it. That's not forgiveness. That's basically just forgetting about, that's not dealing with the situation. So comment below, let me know how you guys are dealing with the situation, how you guys are forgiving people, what it is that they did to offend you, how you're dealing with it. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below, and like I said, I read all the comments, and I'll get back to you and let you know what my advice would be, or how I would handle it if I was in your situation, or whatever situation you may need. So I know this video is a lot shorter, but thank you so much for watching. My name is Coy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That really helps the algorithm push this video out to people like yourself that want to watch it, or that need to watch it, that are looking for advice about how to forgive people. And yeah, we will go from there. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you guys are having a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Peace out.